Welcome to today's training, guys. So I'm going to talk about how to close high-ticket sales from the stage and how to close high-ticket sales on the phone. So if you're just joining, hello. We got people on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So today's topic is closing. How do you close high-ticket sales? If you want to close high-ticket sales from the stage, put your questions in the chat down below or the comment box. If you want to close high-ticket sales on the phone, put that down in the chat box, all right? Got some friends on there. We got Karen on there. We got Thomas on there. What's up, my friends? So great. Let's talk about high-ticket sales, guys. I'm streaming on 2 platforms, so if you see me on the left here on Instagram, I'm not looking at you. It's because I'm looking at this platform too, okay? So I just did a talk this weekend. A friend of mine on his stage, his name's Rudy, he had a group of really high quality entrepreneurs in the actual in the room. Probably like 70 people have paid anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000. And so I got asked to talk about how to close high ticket sales from the stage and how do you make offers from the stage. Chloe, what's up, Chloe? We got some people in the chat box here. So I got asked how to do the high ticket sale. And what I decided to do was I wanted to demonstrate to them how to do the high ticket sale and walk them through like, what is the setup to actually do a high ticket offer? Now, one of the key things to doing any sale that's really important is you should tell people that an offer is actually coming. And so I know there's different sales tactics out there that talk about, hey, don't ever tell somebody that you're going to make an offer. If you tell people you're going to make an offer, then you're revealing something that's coming. You should always tell people that an offer is coming. And the reason is that a lot of people have a lot of tension around the sale, meaning they feel like they're going to come to a seminar or they're going to come to a free talk or they're going to come to a live like this and there's going to be some type of offer. And they get tension around it. And so they kind of close off and they, put their hands like this as they're listening. You'll see sometimes a lot of guys in the room do this. They're like this, yeah, the offer's coming, or they'll get scared and they'll run out of the room. And so one of the things that there's Charlie from Rudy's team. What's up, Charlie? So a lot of times people will just get closed off on the offer, right? And when you tell them, hey, I'm gonna make an offer to you this weekend, you position it like this. So let's say you're doing a seminar and it's a 2-day seminar. On day 1, after you've delivered some really good content, maybe before lunchtime, you're sharing lots of content. You ask the room, you say, hey, how many of you here in the seminar room, feel like you're receiving good content this weekend? And people raise their hand. What are some of your wins from the content that I'm sharing? Somebody goes, oh, my win is this, and my win is this, and my win is that. And you're engaging the room to tell you what they like about your content. And you say, great, I'm really glad that you're enjoying my content. Now, over the next 3 days of this seminar, I'm going to give you my best stuff. And the reality is, I've been teaching, speaking, and selling from the stage for the last decade. I've been speaking and selling from the stage for the last 2 decades. And so to teach you everything that I know from 20 years of experience in 4 days just isn't actually possible. And so what I'd like to do is tomorrow on day 2, I want to bring up some of my clients who've had success working with us one-on-one. Because the truth is, to build any type of business, working one-on-one and getting coaching is the true success metric and the true success standard for anybody to succeed. Like if you're really going to succeed in any area, you need one-on-one coaching. If you're really going to succeed in anything, you need at least a year of immersion in doing something. So tomorrow on day 2, I'm going to talk to you about some of the successes that our clients are having who have been going through our programs and going through our year immersion. And then at the end of that talk, I'm going to extend an invitation for you to continue your training with me, continue your education with me, and potentially join one of my elite private coaching programs. And so when you tell people this in terms of selling from the stage and you let them know an offer is coming and you actually educate them that 4 days isn't enough, people go, oh, wow, 4 days really isn't enough. I'm going to get some great stuff. And you tell them, hey, at the end of 4 days or 3 days of this training or however long your training is, at the end of this 2-day training, 3-day training, at the end of this 1-hour training, like you're going to have gotten some great stuff. But the reality is, like, you're going to go and try and implement something and you're going to run into a brick wall. And that's exactly when you're going to need coaching. So of course, on tomorrow on day 2 or at the end of this talk, of course, I'm going to make an offer, an extended invitation for you to continue your training with me. So you tell people that, and there's 3 things that happen. If you're just joining us, we're talking about selling from the stage and how to make an offer from the stage and how to position it. So there's a few things that happen here, right? Number 1, you're actually getting people prepared that something's about to come. Number 2, you're actually educating them on what it takes to succeed. So the reason why somebody needs additional coaching and training with you is because they need coaching, number 1, but 2, they sometimes don't know that they need coaching. So if they don't know that they need the coaching, it means they don't understand your industry or your space. And of course they're not going to, because you're the expert, they're not. So you actually need to educate them and say, hey, 4 days of training with me isn't enough, or 45 minutes on a live stream isn't enough, which is why I want to extend an opportunity for you to actually coach with me and train with me more. And people actually, they get that. And they understand that because in a world today or on social media where everything's about pop a pill, or jab a vein, or become a millionaire overnight, where everything is like, it's like fast results. That's how things are marketed, but that's not the reality and truth of how things actually work most of the time in this physical universe, right? So when you're selling to people, you tell them the truth of, hey, it's going to take you a long time to master this, and so 45 minutes of a webinar, or 4 days of a live event, or 2 days of a virtual seminar, or 8 weeks of a group coaching program isn't going to be enough. And you literally tell them what the ideal scene is. And the ideal scene for anybody is to get more coaching. Great. So if you're just joining us, the first tip that I'm giving on how to sell from the stage is to tell people that an offer is coming. All right. That's the first tip. Okay. The second tip is, as you're going through your talk, there's 3 things that you want to hit to set up the offer. Okay. Number 1 is story. Okay. Number 2 is 3 pieces of good content. And number 3 is making the call to action on the actual offer itself. Okay. So number 1, the story. The story should position in some way the thing that you're selling. All right. So recently, as I was speaking on a stage this weekend, I went through a story. Okay. And actually, when I'm on a stage talk and I'm talking for like 45 minutes to an hour on stage, and I have people in person, I'm going to tell a longer story in person, because I know I can actually control the communication with the audience better in person, because I can see what they're doing. So if somebody's looking at their computer, I can say something to them or ask them a question. If somebody's a little bit tuned out, I can engage the audience to do something. So I have much better control in person than I do online. So when I'm in person, I tell the story for longer. So I told a 10-minute story in person today. Not today, on Sunday, right? Today, I can share a little story with you of how I would actually set up an offer. So let's say I was going to sell a program on how to get booked on stages and sell from the stage, right? And let's say inside that program, it was about presenting, it was about getting booked on stages, and it was about selling from the stage, okay? I would set it up with a story that would engage somebody to go, hey, I can really do this thing. So there was a time when I first started out speaking, I was about 22 years old, and I was doing my 3rd talk ever, and I was doing it in front of a group of CPAs. I was in the life insurance business at the time. And I didn't know much about, life insurance. I was 22. I didn't know much about financial planning. I was 22, yet I got asked to go give a talk in front of 10 CPAs because I volunteered and said I want to go do it. So the only thing I knew at the time was like how to memorize something. So I actually studied something and then I memorized it. And I walked up on stage in front of these 10 CPAs. And as I'm up there on stage, I start delivering my talk. And I had the entire talk memorized. So as I'm about 2 minutes into my talk, I completely forget my lines. And I go completely blank. And I'm talking, it's like sheet white blank, right? It's like Joe Biden in a press conference blank. It's blank, 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 blank. And then 2 beads of sweat start coming down my forehead. It literally starts seeping out of my shirt. And I've got this light blue shirt on. There's no undershirt. And there's drips of sweat coming down my shirt. And within 2 minutes, my entire shirt is soaking wet and waterlogged. And then I decide I'm literally going to take a seat in the front row of the audience. And I walk and I sit down, and I'm sitting in the front row of the audience, and we're watching nobody on the freaking stage. And after 30 seconds of sitting there where nobody said a thing, which seemed like an eternity, right? I decided I was going to get back up and deliver the talk and finish the talk. And I get back up there in a completely soaking wet shirt, and I finish the talk, and I deliver the worst talk ever in the history of speaking. And driving home that day with my boss, I'm in the passenger seat, and I don't say a word, and I'm pretending that I'm sick. And I'm like, I don't say a word. And I'm thinking to myself, I will never, ever, 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 ever speak again. Now, months later, okay, I decide to redeem myself, and I'm like, I'm going to put on a seminar. I'm going to get like 30 people in the room, and I'm going to invite that CPA firm, a couple people from that CPA firm back to my new event, and I'm going to redeem myself. And I do, and I put on my new event. A couple people from the CPA firm are in the audience, and I nail the talk, and that was one of the things that helped me go out and crack 6 figures of income. And then, of course, that night, as luck would have it, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the kitchen floor, and I'm overdosing from a bag of cocaine, 2 pills of ecstasy, 15 vodka sodas, and my soul is coming out of my body. And the next morning I wake up and I'm like, wow, money didn't do it. So if I get status and I get power, maybe I'll be happy. So anyway, I gave you just a little segment right there of a talk that I give on stage. Now, what is important about that story? Okay. What's important about that story is this. If I'm selling a program on how to get booked on stages and sell from the stage, what's important about the story I just told is the reason people don't want to get booked on stages and sell is because they're afraid they're going to look foolish, and they're afraid they're going to mess up, and they're afraid they're not going to be confident. So if I tell a story, no matter how seasoned somebody is from the stage, most people don't know how to sell from the stage. So if I'm going to sell a program on how to get booked and how to actually sell from the stage, the entire audience has some fear of selling from the stage. So if I tell a story where I completely bombed on stage and made a fool of myself and passed out and then redeemed myself, the audience is going, hey, I'm probably not going to break into sweats on stage. It's probably not going to be that bad. And he redeemed himself. I can go out and I can actually speak. So that story is told in the beginning of a talk where I'm going to sell a program at the end. Okay, I'm not selling you anything today. If you want to do a speaker assessment at the end, I'll give you a little speaker assessment to actually assess where you are in your speaking career so you know the next action step for you. But I'm not actually selling anything to you today. Okay, so I set up the story so that somebody who's brand new in the audience, or even somebody who's a veteran of getting on stages, like I know veterans who've been on stages who get paid big bucks to actually sell from the stage, big bucks actually to speak on stages, who don't know how to sell from the stage and are not fully confident selling from the stage. And the truth is, no matter how many times you sell from the stage, you get more confident, but you don't ever get fully 1,000% confident. Okay? Because there's always a next level of confidence. So don't expect you're ever going to get on there and be like, I've arrived, right? The moments that you arrive on stage is when you make the offer, and then you're in complete, total, confront with the audience. You're in total stillness with the audience, and you're allowing them to experience and receive the communication of the offer. I'm going to say that one more time. It's really important. Where you get supreme confidence in the offer, supreme confidence, is when you actually stand there in front of an audience. You deliver the offer with zero counter intention, meaning I'm delivering the offer and I'm allowing it to go from me to the audience. I'm not delivering the offer and then all of a sudden talking over it. I'm not delivering the offer and doing it in a way that's not calm and boom. I'm delivering the offer with total just intention. that I'm going to say it to the audience, and then I'm going to allow it to go from me to them, and I'm going to give them the problem. Okay? This is really important. I'm going to give them the problem. I'm already holding on to the damn problem, how hard it is to motivate 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 people in a room. I've brought the energy the entire time to give them and help them and serve them and move them and inspire them past their problem towards their goal. I've gotten them to the point of the edge of total inspiration where they are on the cliff. And now they need to face and confront the next step. Is the step that they're going to take going to be off a cliff and down, or is it going to be on a path, like kind of Indiana Jones of like the leap of faith, the step, and all of a sudden the step shows up, and then he takes the next leap of faith, and the step shows up, and the next leap of faith, and the step shows up. I'm at the point where the audience needs to take a leap of faith and step, and I can no longer hold on to the problem of the sale. I need to give it to them and say, are you ready to own this challenge and problem that you're having, and are you ready to solve it? So the critical point in the offer, is that moment you make the offer, you stand there with total intention, and you now transfer the communication of I have now owned and taken responsibility as a speaker to deliver and give you my best stuff. I've spent the last 2 decades perfecting it. Now I'm willing to hand it to you. The question is, will you accept the challenge? Will you accept the problem? Because you're going to face challenges doing this, and you're going to need a system to overcome those challenges. And at that moment, I give them the communication, are you ready to accept the challenge? And then I stop and I let them own it. And when I let them own it, and you've never heard this before, okay, right? Nobody's ever told you this before. I know that, okay, because this is totally unique to me. And it's totally unique to what I teach and how I do it. But when you do this and you make the offer and you pause and you confront the audience and you deliver the communication, you're transferring all your years of expertise. You say, I'm willing to give this to you. Are you willing to accept the challenge? And then they need to go, whatever the call to action is. If you say, stand up and grab an envelope, they stand up and they grab an envelope in the room, and they stand up and they declare in front of everybody that they want to do this. And that becomes the time where they stand for themselves. They take responsibility for themselves. It's metaphorical because in that moment when I'm doing it in a seminar room, we actually have them stand and we actually have them declare that they're going to take responsibility and own that challenge and also own that possibility. And when they do it, there's a transformation that happens in the room because they actually stand up and go, I'm ready for this. And that is the first call to action from the stage. It's the first call to action. So that is how you make the high ticket offer. And when we do this, when I'm saying high ticket offers, I'm talking about, like, I'm waving to some people on Instagram here. I'm talking about high ticket offers. I'm actually talking about, like, that's the first call to action. Okay. Now, you told a story in the beginning of the talk. You taught 3 pieces of content throughout the talk, and then you made that call to action powerful. And so when you make it and they've accepted the challenge, the first round of people will stand up. So anytime you make a first offer, guys, the first round of people will stand up. But then when you make the second offer, okay, you make the second offer, what happens is the second round of people will stand up only if you do it correctly. All right. Now, the second call to action is actually addressing the objections that somebody has. So there's only a few objections that people could really have that are common to most people, which is number 1, it's money. It's money. So I don't have the money. It's a price thing, right? Number 2, I have to think about it. Number 3, I need to talk to my partner or spouse. Or number 4, now's not the right time. Those are the only things that come up. Or number 5, I'm in another coaching program. You'll hear that sometimes as well. So those are like the 5 objections that you will get when you make an offer. Now, if you're making it from the stage, you can interact with the audience and handle the objections. If you're making it on a webinar, you can interact with people and ask them what objections do they have, put in the chat box. Mostly when you're doing a presentation where you can't interact, where you're not physically in person, you just need to handle the objections that they have in their head, and you need to address every single one of them throughout your talk. So if you're doing a presentation, you want to sell something, you're not addressing every single objection along the way. So I have to think about it. I have to talk to my partner. Now it's not the right time. If you're not handling those objections throughout your presentation, then you get to the end, or you get to the pitch, or you get to the second call to action, and the room's not standing, or the room's not taking your offer. One of the reasons why I love speaking in person is I can actually see what's happening in the room. So if I make the offer, there's times where I've made the offer and I ask people to stand and take an envelope and the whole room stands. There's times where I've made it and I had to make a second call to action to get the whole room to stand. And there's times where I made it where I had to make a third call to action to get the whole room to stand. But every time I make at least 3 calls to action. Okay? Now, the beautiful thing about being in a seminar room is you watch what's happening and you watch the results that are coming in. So you can see how your communication is impacting the audience. And when you see how it's impacting the audience, you know what your statistics are, so you can work more to get your statistics up. On a high ticket offer, when I'm making an offer for like 100K, I want to get 30% of the room to stand up. Now, it doesn't mean that 30% of the room is going to close. On a high ticket offer of 100K, we may take 5 people into our program. So if we have 100 people in the room, I want to get 30 people standing up. Okay? So I want to get 30. If I know that I got 30% of the room to stand at a minimum, I've done my best. Okay? Great. So how do you handle the objections in any talk? On a webinar presentation, how do you handle the objections? So number one, how do you handle the price? Okay? So when you make an offer, let's say for 100K, the good thing about the high ticket offer of $100,000 or beyond, now I'm not saying you go sell this, you have to be able to deliver this. Okay? Back in the day, I used to sell 100 and 200K offers all the time, and I was the one coaching and delivering it. Now my team's delivering it, and so I'm not making a lot of 200K offers from the stage anymore because my team's delivering it. I have a coaching team deliver it, so our offers are a little bit lower because my team's delivering it. Make sense? So when I do make the 100 or 200K, people want the Lamborghini, they want the Ferrari offer, right? They want the Rolex, they want the luxury item. So one of the benefits of price is when you have something that's very high priced, people go, wow, I want that thing. Okay. If you have something that's mid priced, like, hey, it's 20K or 50K, people are like, wow, that's high priced. The 50K offers are not like, wow, I want that thing. The 100K offers that are so out of their reach, that's like a pipe dream for a lot of people. Like, I want that. People want things a lot of times that they can't have. So when you make the 100K, people are like, whoa, I want that. It's like there's something luxurious about it that they want. If you're at 50K, you're still in the middle class. It's true. And people don't want the middle class. They're already in the middle class, right? If you're at 20K, you're whatever. It's like people can have that to some degree. It's still a little high. 10K people are used to, okay? So when you get into the upper class of the 100K offer, people naturally, to some degree, they want it already, okay? Doesn't mean they're going to stand up, but they're intrigued by it. Okay, it's like the diamond, right? It's like, whoa, look at the yellow diamond. So just know that first about that and price. But the second thing is, in anything that you offer, you should handle price and you should handle money. So the objection handling goes something like this. Hey, I know as I'm making this offer, some of you right away are going, wow, that's a big cost, right? Wow, that costs a lot. You know, the proper way to look about anything that you're doing in your business or for your life is that you're actually investing in yourself. And the one thing that most people don't do is they actually invest in a whole bunch of other things, but they never really have the courage to invest in themselves. So they'll invest in cars and they'll invest in houses and they'll invest in insurance and they'll invest in phone bills and they'll invest in rent. They'll put all kinds of money into other things. They'll invest in stocks of other people's companies. But they won't invest in their own company. They won't invest in their own stock. They won't invest in themselves. And I can tell you right now, that's a major problem. If you can't invest in yourself, it actually means that you don't fully believe in yourself. And you believe that what somebody else has to offer, right? In terms of like a stock that you're going to buy or a real estate you're going to buy, you believe that thing is more valuable than you. And so if you believe that thing is more valuable than you, then there's a problem. And what you need to do today is start investing in yourself and stop looking at yourself as a cost. Because when you say no to this offer, you're just basically saying that I'm not worth it. And that when I invest in myself, it costs me money. And the actual proper viewpoint of this is I'm investing in myself because I'm the best possible investment there is, because it all starts with me and everything emanates from there. So let's look at this as an investment first, number one. And number two, if I was just to deliver step one and step two of this offer, no matter how brand new you are, if you were to go out and implement this over the year, this is worth at least $100,000 to the most brand new person in the room. Okay. And even if you're brand new, if I teach you how to sell from the stage and you're a speaker, there's veteran speakers that have never learned how to sell from the stage, right? And if you've never learned how to sell from the stage, it's actually a stop in your ability as a speaker. Because to be great as a speaker, you actually have to confront more and more things. And the more you confront, the more free you are as a speaker. So if you're not free to sell, then you're never fully free as a speaker. And so today, when you enroll in my program and you learn how to sell from the stage, you will be an unstoppable speaker. And learning how to sell is one of the most valuable skill sets you can ever possibly have in your business. So to the most brand new person, when you join my program just to learn how to sell, which is one step of the entire training, if you just learn that, to the most brand new person, worth $100,000. To you entrepreneurs who are veterans, it's worth $1 million at a minimum this year. Over a lifetime, to you veterans, it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Just as one step. So as you're thinking about the investment to make $100,000 investment into yourself today, that's worth to the most brand new person $1 million, like, this is not a cost. This is the best investment you could possibly make. So notice how I just handled that money objection, guys. You handle, what's up, John? So you're handling the money objection. Okay. And that's exactly how you do it. You completely show them a different point of view on money, and you talk about investing in yourself. And that makes all the difference in the world. So right there, I've handled the money objection. Now, if I'm in a seminar room, I role played this at Rudy's event the other day, but if I'm in a seminar room, I'll literally walk up to somebody and I will actually get in communication with them, and I'll go, great. So in terms of this investment, what are you thinking? And then they'll tell me, well, wow, it's a big investment. And then right there, I'll handle the objection that it's a big investment. And when I handle with that one person fully, everybody in the room who thought, wow, it's a big investment or it's too much, it'll handle their objections too. And then the money consideration will be handled for the whole group. And what's more powerful than telling people is demonstrating. So when you demonstrate handling an objection in a group, it starts to handle it for the entire room. Now, your skill set needs to be super high to do this. You need to be super good at sales to do this. And if you're not super good at sales to do this, in your first stage talk, I would not handle objections in the room one-on-one. I would just do it as a generality like I just did, and you will still handle the considerations in the room, okay? Great. So that's how to handle investment. The other objections that come up, put it in the chat box, guys. What other objections do you get that people have and bring to you that you want handled? If you're just joining us, talking about selling from the stage and making the high-ticket offer, what objections do you get when you make a high-end offer to people? And what do you need help on with those objections? Cool. So let's take up the I have to think about it objection. Okay. Anybody get the I have to think about it objection? All right. So I have to think about it is handled like this. You basically go, hey, some of you, let's say I'm making an offer of how to get booked on stages and sell from the stage. Okay. And somebody's objection is I have to think about it. So the way I handle it is simple. I go, great. So some of you in the audience right now are actually thinking about it, right? And in your head, you're going, what you're thinking about is you're thinking about that I have to think about it. And one of the things that successful people do is that when they know something is right and they know something is something that they need, they actually just get into action. They don't think much about it. So right now, you're actually here in this seminar room, or you showed up to this presentation because you actually knew that this is something that you needed. In fact, you showed up to this seminar that was about getting booked on stages and selling from the stage. So you actually know that you want this. So if you showed up and you knew that you want this, and now you also know that after you leave here, you're going to try and go get booked on stages. You're going to try and sell from the stage. And then when you go do that, you're going to run into an answer or run into a challenge that you can't solve. And so if you actually just think into the future right now, rather than thinking about your problem right now, if you take a moment and think into the future and you think about that moment you're going to go out and try and do it, think about all the challenges you're going to run into. You're going to run into a lot. And then you're not going to be able to solve those challenges. And it's at that exact moment that you're going to need a coach. And better yet, it makes more sense to get a coach now so you can avoid those costly challenges that are going to cost you way more money in mistakes than it is to actually invest in this training. So the thing to actually think about right now is that sitting around thinking about it is actually not a solution. Sitting around thinking about it actually just procrastination. Sitting around thinking about it, you've been doing this for how long? How long have you actually been thinking about getting booked on stages? For most of you in the room, it's a year, 2 years, 3 years. Why would you wait a year and 2 days? Why would you wait a year and 1 day? Why would you wait 3 years? You've been thinking about it for 3 years and 3 days. Like, why would you wait longer? Why would you continue to think on a problem that will continue to be a problem? There is no solution for you there, my friend. And the only right action right now is for you to get up out of that chair, grab this envelope, and step into a conversation with our team to talk about investing in this training. Who in the room would like to stand up right now who's thinking about it and actually get into action in your life? Because the thinking is where all the damn suffering is. The action is where the game is actually played. People who think sit on the sidelines. People who get into action play the game. Do you want to be a spectator or do you want to play the game? You're tired of being a spectator. You're tired of sitting in the audience watching somebody like me get up there and do it and sell over and over and over again and bring the money over and over and over again while you're a spectator watching this thing happen. Get in the game, my friend. Become our next success story and grab the envelope. And that is how you overcome the I have to think about it. Does this make sense, guys? Is this good or is this good, huh? This is how you handle objections with high ticket offers, okay? I'm dropping literally $1 million of gold right now in this actual training, because if you can master these skill sets from the stage, you'll actually be able to transfer these exact skill sets of handling objections to one-on-one conversations, okay? So I'm going to handle the final objection. If you're just joining us, we are literally talking about how to actually get booked on stage. Actually, we're actually talking about how to sell from the stage, okay? How to sell from the stage, how to sell the high ticket offer, all right? You can transfer this knowledge of how to sell from the stage into actually how to sell in general, whether it's one-on-one or webinars or podcasts, etc. Okay? So let's talk about one of the other objections, okay? Any other objections that you guys run into? Is there anybody who wants to put it in the chat? I can't see the comments right now. But you can comment here. I'm on StreamYard if you have any objections that you want to talk about. Okay, but I can't see anything what you guys are posting on Instagram right now. So, great. So let's talk about the third objection. Okay, so the third objection to handle is when somebody says, "I have to think about it." We handle that. When somebody says, "I have to talk to my spouse" or "I have to talk to my partner." Okay, so here's how you handle this objection. All right. Number one, if you're doing a one-on-one enrollment conversation, you need to find that out in the beginning. You literally need to have a questionnaire if you're doing one-on-one enrollment. And in the beginning, it says, does anybody else make decisions on your business besides you? Do you have a business partner? Do you have a spouse that weighs in on the decisions? So if you're going to do a one-on-one call, you want to make sure that the business partner is there if they weigh in on decisions, or the spouse is there if they're a partner in the business. You want to handle that up front. If you don't handle it before they show up to the call, on the call, you handle it up front and you go, great. So we're going to talk today about XYZ. At the end, I'm going to talk to you about joining our XYZ program. Is there anybody on your team or anybody who weighs in on the decisions, or do you make the decisions in your life and business? I make the decisions. Great. Let's continue. Okay. Well, I actually talked to my business partner. Great. Who's the decider on this thing? Well, I'm the decider on this. Okay. Let's continue. Who's the decider on this? Well, we both co-decide. Great. Can you get your business partner on the phone? And let's talk through this together. So for speed, you want to have the decision makers there, right? If you're in a seminar room, a lot of times people come to events with the decision makers there. So people will come to a seminar and their business partner or their spouse will be there, okay? So how do you handle the objection when a partner or a spouse is actually in the room? It's simple. You basically say this. You go, great. So some of you came here in this room with a partner. His business partner, maybe he came with a spouse, and some of you are here right now, and your business partner and your spouse is here with you, and they fully support you. How many of you in the room are here with your spouse, and your spouse fully supports you? And some hands go up. So you can start to see in the room of like, oh, we got some people in the room where the spouse actually supports, right? How many of you in the room, and you don't have to show your hands, but you can just answer this mentally. How many in the room feel like you really don't have your spouse fully on board, or you don't have your business partner fully on board? Okay. Now, what I've done is I've started a conversation in the room of these people confronting a problem that already exists. So I'm entering the discussion to go, hey, let me point out the elephant in the room. You might be here with your business partner and you guys are not fully aligned. You might be here with your spouse and you're not fully aligned. Boom. Already the problem starts to bubble. I want the problem to bubble. I want it to come up. I want the communication to happen on this. So I say, great. So, I mean, how many of you in the room think that how many of you in the room support your partner in their number one goal? Like I do, right? How many in the room want to know that your partner supports you in your number one goal? Hands go up. Great. So at the end of the day, like if you have a partner that really loves you, which I know you do, of course they're going to support you in your number one goal. And probably the consideration with you joining a program like this is just fear. And you probably just haven't communicated how this number one goal is really important to you. So what I'd like you to do right now is I'm asking you to grab an envelope in the room or ask you to go click on the link. Go click on the link. You know, if you make the decisions in your life, just go buy the program. And then sit down with your partner and go, hey, I'm investing in this program because my number one goal is really important to me. And when I achieve this number one goal, this is going to help our family. And it's going to make me happier. And it's going to make me a better spouse. And it's going to make me more prosperous and profitable. And I know it's a big investment. And I know I made some investments in the past that haven't worked out. But, you know, every entrepreneur goes through this. Every entrepreneur tries something and fails a little bit. But you know what? We learn things along the way and we learn from our mistakes. And I really feel like this is the right decision. And I do want to go after my goal and I don't want to give up on my goal. And I want to invest in myself and I want to invest in my family. What do you think somebody's going to say to that? What do you think a spouse is going to say? So you have to train the person to actually present powerfully to the spouse in a way that is like a higher level conversation. Like, this is what I want for myself. This is what I want for my family. If it's presented from a viewpoint of this is what I'm doing for me, and the spouse doesn't feel involved, that's when you get the problems. Because if one person feels like the other person is going in the other direction, then it's literally like you present something and there's automatically a counter intention. So you got to get the spouse aligned with the goal. Okay. You got to get them aligned with the goal. You got to get them creating on the goal together. And the moment you do that, it's a yes. It's a fear because, oh, you're going to spend money on our finances and you're going to invest our finances into you and I'm going to get nothing. You're going to invest our finances into you and it's not going to help our family. If you now show them this is why it's going to help you as well, and this is how it's going to help our family, it's an automatic yes. And then you get the spouse on board and then the objections are gone. But what most people do is they like go have the conversation. Hey, I'm thinking of investing in this program. Wrong approach. Your spouse is never going to know what the program is. Hell, you don't understand the damn program. You expect when you get pitched something that you're ever going to understand what the program is. You're not going to. You haven't experienced it yet, which is why you never pitch somebody on the program. Gracias. You pitch people on the number one goal. Make sense? So you pitch them on the number one goal. You pitch them on their goal. You pitch them on their dream. And you relate the program and you go, hey, when you do step number one, how is this going to help you achieve your number one goal? Hey, when you do step number two in this training that I'm offering up to you, how is it going to help you solve your number one challenge? And all of a sudden, the client's relating the program to the challenge, the program to the goal. And then when you go talk to the spouse, you talk about how it's going to help you with your number one goal. You don't talk about some program that the spouse has no reality on. And you certainly don't talk about making an investment and going, hey, you know, I want to make this investment again and I want to buy this training because I really think it's going to be a good fit for me. You know, you go, no, hey, my number one goal is this, right? I want to accomplish this. When I do this, it's going to make me happier. When I do this, it's going to help us create this for our family. And when you say it that way, the spouse is in. It's automatic, you know? So these are the things to actually handle in the discussion. Otherwise, it's you versus your business partner or your spouse. It's you versus them. And it's you taking away from them versus adding to them. Okay. And that is just a scarcity conversation. And you never win with that. Because in scarcity conversations, what kind of investments do you get? You get scarcity investments. Okay. Which is why it's a conversation where you go, hey, what's the investment? And people automatically go down to a payment plan. Why do they go down to a payment plan? Is because they have scarcity thinking. Okay, you should never invest in something with a payment plan. Okay, you should invest, pay in full if you believe in it and do it and go all in on the thing, which is why we train our entire sales force and everybody who's a client of ours to get the paid in full, because you got to rise the client to your expectations versus lowering your expectations to the client's scarcity. And that's why you're not collecting the money paid in full that you want, because you have a low scarcity conversation and you have a low scarcity offer, and then you end up with low scarcity money into your business. And that's how it goes. Okay. So hopefully you got some gold today from the conversation. What I'd like to do is offer up a free consultation. Do we have the link for the free consult? So I'd like to offer a free consultation to you guys, which is basically a speaker assessment. So we're going to do a simple speaker assessment that is going to help you figure out, like, where are you actually at as a speaker, and there's challenges that people run into speaking. I'm going to give them to you, and then we're going to put a link in, and you can go do the speaker assessment, find out exactly where you are. You'll get to do the speaker assessment with one of my coaches, find out exactly where you are in terms of assessing yourself as a speaker. Because the problem that people run into with speaking is they're like, okay, Ted, should I go get booked on a podcast? Should I get booked on a stage? Should I go get booked on a webinar? Should I go speak in person? Should I do a virtual seminar? Should I do a live 3-day event? Should it be a 2-day event? Should it be a 1-day event? Hey, Ted, when I go to speak, what should my offer be? Should it be a $5,000 program? Should it be a $10,000 program? Oh, by the way, when I go do my presentation, what story should I tell? So as a speaker, you are absolutely confused. I know this. As an online marketer, you are absolutely confused. Okay. If you are not an expert in this space and you have not been doing one strategy for the last decade of your life, you are confused. Why? Because things are changing every 2 seconds. Okay. Today you're getting marketed AI. Last year you were getting marketed crypto. The year before you were getting marketing. The webinars are great. Now you're getting marketed. Social media is the best thing. You're confused, man. And unless you do an assessment to figure out where you are, you're going to continue to be confused on what you're doing. So we're going to put this also in Instagram here. You're going to see some weird things. Can we post it in here?
Post it from my account.
Oh, great. So James is going to post it there into the Instagram chat. James is posting. It's coming from James Barber. So you see, we just posted the link in the Instagram. Oh, we got somebody watching from Nigeria. I love it. So go click on that link, okay? And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page for a 7-figure speaker assessment. You're going to actually book an appointment for 15 minutes. You're going to get on the phone with my coach. My coach is going to ask you some questions to assess where you are as a speaker. And then at the end of the assessment, they're going to give you a free product to get you on the path to achieving your goals. Now, of course, if we think that we can help you more, which we likely can, we'll get you on the phone with a more advanced coach to talk through how to actually build your speaking business and build your online business. So first step is go click on the link. It's here in the chat box or in the comment box. Once you click on the link, take the 7-figure speaker assessment, and you take it only by booking a 15-minute consultation first. You book that 15-minute consultation, and on the consultation with my actual coach, she will do the speaker assessment with you, okay? She will do the speaker assessment with you, and then we will assess what is the right path for you. Is it getting booked on stages? Is it leading a virtual seminar? Is it doing a group coaching program? Is it crafting your presentation so you feel more confident? Is it working on your story? We will assess what's proper for you, and then we will give you a product for free to help you go implement this. It's pretty cool, right? Okay, guys, next week, you can go click on the link right now and go book. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about something that's also exciting. We're going to be talking about AI and how my business partner and I have created a technology in AI that is actually getting in communication with our customers who opt into our list with a cell phone number, having a conversation with them and routing them to my inbound sales floor, okay? So who is this for? This is for businesses that have at least 1,000 leads a week coming into the business, because that's who we want to work with. But we are now signing up some of the biggest people in the space because this works. Just yesterday in my business, we booked 7 appointments as a result of the bot. 7 appointments. Imagine 7 free consultations coming in your business with a very, very small segment of my list. We're talking about my entire list. This is maybe like a 0.05% of my list that we tested this on. 7 appointments with like 0.05% of my list that we tested this on. We're expecting that this bot will help us 5x the number of free consultations that we hold in our business. And we expect that the bot will help us double our business this year. It's pretty dope, right? So anyway, new things coming in. You're going to see us online with advertisements that we're creating today, talking all about this new technology that we've developed. And the world's going to go crazy over it because it's freaking awesome. Okay. And the job is not the normal stuff of like write your emails or write your ads. The job of the bot is actually to get you appointments, which is pretty dope. Okay. All right, guys. See you soon. And see you next Tuesday. We'll start around 9:30 next Tuesday. Cheers, guys.